Here we go. We are going to be working on a crazy quilt painting using gouache. It's going to be fun. We're going to be here for a minute, so hang out, guys. Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie. We are here with a fun crazy quilt design. This is something you can personalize any way you want. The thing about crazy quilts, they were made with scraps, and because they were during the Victorian age of the United States, for the most part, they were made with a lot of cast-off clothing. Whatever people could find that had a bit of fabric that was still usable, they'd make it into a quilt. And these crazy quilts, many of them were made with silk from ties and sateen from dresses, velveteens or velvets. And so they had kind of a rich and opulent feeling, even if the people who made them weren't rich or opulent. They could get scraps of fabric from basically rag merchants, people who would collect up all of the old unusable clothing and cut them into scrap pieces that were big enough to still use for something. Or they would use a scrap of Grandpa's shirt or a pair of pants that were beyond use. They would cut up and use for other things. So that's what happened with this. They would then surface decorate with embroidery and painting. They would actually paint on their quilts too. So we are in good stead here. We're going to be doing this on the Arteza Expert watercolor paper. This is the cold pressed dual-sided acid-free glue bound, perfect for watercolor. It is not the cotton paper. This is just their Expert watercolor paper, and the size I have here is 9 by 12. And then whoa, I didn't realize that you don't need to see what's going on behind the curtain there. So we are going to be able to personalize this any way we want, and we can also use, for the embroidery, we can go in with glittery pens or with metallic pens, because they used a lot of fancy threads along with standard colors. So there we go. If you're interested in, I'm also going to be using Arteza gouache. They do have Arteza gouache in some of the sets available still on Arteza. It's not all sold out. So Arteza gouache, and all the links for Arteza are down below in the more information box. And if you want, through the 14th, I still have a coupon code that's good for 10% off your entire order at Arteza. And it is Deliberately Creative 14 right now through January 14th, 2021. I will be getting a new coupon code soon. And I will post that in the comment section of this video. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, pay no attention to the person behind the curtain. Actually, nobody could fit behind the curtain. I do have some of the acrylic gouache also. And what I want to do with the acrylic gouache is use it for the backgrounds, use it for the base layer of the fabrics, and then go in and use like pearl aqua blue gouache or pearl emerald to fancy up some of the fabrics to make them look a little bit shiny and a little bit more rich. And thank you guys. Yeah. I saw the empanada party going on in the chat room before the video started. That was really cool. And I don't have this taped down to anything this time. I just have some tape put around here. This is it was the 9 by 12. I cut it down to 8.5 by 11 so it would fit in my printer very easily. I do have a template here, and I do have a piece of that Coroplast plastic board to use as my palette. So I think that's all of the housekeeping. Oh, not quite. If you're interested in the 30 creative cozy designs or cozy creative designs, I do have all of them pulled together as a book on Teespring. It's an instant download. So this is today. And as you can see, it is the cleaned up version. What we did during the show, during the 14-hour marathon, is we did this, and I was getting frustrated and decided, you know what, I'm going to clean this up and make it like this. So embroidery hoop, so we can put personalization in this space. Say you're making it for a baby quilt or a wedding quilt to put on the face of a card. That is a really cool idea to do. And we're also doing this to be cozy, to use some creativity, to take care of ourselves, and to just have an enjoyable time. So that's that. Let's get right in here. And yeah, because I had brought it into my computer, I didn't realize that I had flipped it. But I kind of like it this way because then you can put like the year right here and personalize up above. So I'm happy with the way it is. And now I'm going to just start putting out some of the acrylic gouache. This acrylic gouache means that it has an acrylic polymer emulsion in it that once it's dry, it doesn't lift and move, or it doesn't lift and move as much. So I'm going to put, this is Prussian blue, looks really, really dark, but for those velvety colors, you know, Amazon is being really weird right now. I am waiting for the review on it. There was a, because of the way I had the lines going almost off the edge of the paper, they didn't like that on 3 pages. So I had to resubmit the book. I'm still waiting for Amazon to come through for me. So yeah, I've got a magenta here, and these paints are really thick, and that was way more paint out than I wanted. And you can't really put it back in, and the acrylic gouache, once it's dry, it's dry. So I will probably take my leftovers and maybe just make a background with them. Thank you so much. Yeah, push that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends, you know, all the stuff. So I've got the diazonine purple right here. So some of these colors are way softer, and it's not like you can really mix them, and some were way more thick. I don't know. That brush is going to be too big to paint in any of my shapes, but this brush should be just about right. It's about a 1/2 inch, 5/8 inch. It's a Royal and Langnickel, and it's a teensy tiny brush. And I do have paper towels. There we go. Yeah, thank you guys so much for your help, for your sharing, your support, all those good things. Let's zoom in. I'm not really going to do too much in the way of color mixing right now, although I am going to put a little bit of white down in a couple spots. And the reason why is that way I can vary the tone of these. And maybe I do need to put a little bit of yellow out. That way, basically, I've got a blue, a red, and a yellow. So I can mix up these colors. And, come on, there. So I've got the permanent yellow deep, the diazonine purple, magenta, and Prussian blue. Hello, Uncle Dan. Yes, you made it back before I even started putting any paint on the paper. Woohoo! This is my inspiration. Oh, here, before we go too far, let me bring up so you can see it a little bit better than my crummy little printout. Look at that. So that's what the printout looks like with proper coloring. And this is some of the close-up details. You see how they get some texture and just with tone on tone. And then they also have the embroidery bits up nice and close. And one of the things they always seem to do, or many people seem to do, is they put their initials and the year that it was made. That really, just makes it special. And this was a Victorian crazy quilt that was pieced in 1899. So turn of the century. And I liked that big flower in the middle. That big flower in the middle. I really liked that. I thought, wow, that would be so pretty. And it kind of fits into the theme that I've got going for next month, too. But stars, moons, flowers, leaves, any of those things. Doodles, butterflies. Look at that, butterflies. We might be putting a butterfly. And then this would be like the back side. So they would actually decorate the back side of the quilts too. So pretty. All right, let's get into painting. I know, I kind of took my time getting in, didn't I? Sorry. But sometimes you have to do that. I'm taking some of that magenta and a touch of white. I like the small brush or smaller brush like this. What I mean by smaller, I mean the handle. I like shorter handle brushes. The length of the handle really is to give you balance on your brush, especially if you are, painting at a distance from your surface. And since most of my lines are going to have, straight edges to start off with, having a flat 5/8 inch gives me a good size. This is acrylic gouache, so it will dry matte, it will dry velvety, smooth. It is very opaque, and if it's not opaque enough for you, adding a little touch of white to it makes it more opaque. It also gives it more of that velvet type of look. Is that a plum? It is magenta mixed with a bit of titanium white, or just PW6 white. And they say that this magenta is the fluorescent. It's PBR 88. So by adding the white to it, it helps it to not be as fading. And if it does happen to fade, I'm doing this to take photographs of it. I'm not selling the original piece of this, so I'm going to take a little bit of that magenta just by itself and rotate and find a space. Let's see. Let's go right here, kind of in this area where it's going underneath. The neat thing about gouache is you can paint I need to flatten my paint out in my brush. It's kind of creeping up the bristles. So what I did is kind of squished it down and then grabbing it back up on the tip. So it's kind of almost like getting a little bead of paint on a palette knife, and how sometimes you have to clean your palette knife off to go back in and scrape up some paint. This is a fiddly little spot. I don't know why I decided that this brush would be what I'd use, but you know what? It is. And I'm showing you that you can use just the corner. Let's see if I'm lined up with the close-up. Oops, sorry. You're getting a picture of yesterday's reference. There we go. I don't have a reference on the screen this time, so we'll just flash up that one 1899 quilt every once in a while. I found that on actually a for sale website, and it's not for sale anymore. It was sold, so it was in their sold gallery. If you get little bits of paint around, don't worry about it. Once it's dry, the other gouaches will just paint right over it. See how I kind of turned that and got it lined up so I've got the edge right here. So this gouache is this is the Turner acrylic gouache right now. We're using the acrylic gouache, and that is just because I don't want it to lift up when we're doing our decorating. And I am putting this color in a few different places. I'm going to say they actually had, maybe there was a dress that had this color in it, this paint. Since I squirted a whole ton of that paint out, I'm going to use some of it, you know. I'm adding a little bit of white to it. And the white does, you know, lighten it up a lot. I'm actually going to say I don't want that extra line there. And you can just paint right over your lines that you don't want. And by the time we're done, you're not even going to notice it. I'm going to put a little bit of that lighter color, sort of dry brush right there. Just putting some texture on that fabric. Same color, just lightened up with a touch of white. Maybe I'll put a little dry brush of that on here. As I'm going, I might decorate my fabrics a little, a little bit of a dry brush of that paint right here. And yeah, I've got a whole pile of stuff here. Then there's the Arteza gouache I'm going to be going in and using for decorating and fancying up some of the fabrics. And yeah, okay, thank you. Your mother was born in 1914. Your grandmother was born in 1914. My grandfather was born in 1908. So when he passed in 2009, he passed in 2009. I'm going in 2000. Yeah, it's 2009 because he was 1 month shy of his 101st birthday when he passed. All right, let's go to the top down again. So see, I took a little bit of the darker version just on my wet, dirty brush and just brushed it across. But I took the lighter version and brushed it across that one. Let's go get some dark in here. Hello, Darcy and Amy and Uncle Dan and Gina and Mary. And I saw Linda and, oh my gosh, there's so many people. Thank you for being here. Mark is lurking in the background. Amy brought donuts. I'm sorry, Darcy brought donuts for Amy. Ooh, and Gina. Well, I hope I get some of those donuts too. I am going to take some of that Prussian blue. Oh my gosh, so dark, 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 dark. Dark, dark, dark blue. And I'm adding just a bit of white to it. And look at that. I think that this one right here is going to get that. One of the nice things about doing a not completely mixed, having that white kind of marbled into your blue or into your pink, is that you can get a bit of a texture going that feels kind of like fabric. It feels like a weave almost. So if you're paying attention to that, you can, you can really pay attention to that and make it feel like that fabric is laying in a certain direction. I'm just using the gouache mostly straight from the tube, adding a little bit of white to it. And I'm not worried so much about getting it onto my ring. That ring is going to get painted after I've got all of the background done. And that is the embroidery hoop that I'm saying is holding that area that will have the personalization. I'm getting my paint a little bit more wet, and I'm going to have to rotate. So if you ever wanted to do some quilting, you can test your quilt ideas out by painting them. Did you know that? Or coloring them with colored pencils. Put a quilt out, quilt pattern out on paper, just print it out, and then color it with your different colors, and you will end up with a beautiful something that can be used. I'm going to put a bit of a highlight kind of right there, a little bit more, sort of following the fabric around, and maybe I'll say there's a bit of a highlight coming up here. Just getting it into the background now so I don't have to worry about it when I'm just doodling, because really that's what we're going to do. We're going to doodle stitch around all of the pieces. So there. Actually going to go out with the girls. Oh. Yes, the circle was drawn. Now, since I wasn't planning on using it today, oh, there it is. The circle was drawn with the Helix Circle Maker, and you just set it down, put your pencil or pen or whatever into the little hole, and just draw around. Because you can hold this down in place with one hand and draw around with the other. You get perfect, lovely circles. And because these are graduated, you can move, say you did one on the outside and then you skip down 2 to get your inside line, or skip down 1 to get your inside line. This is a super tool and really quite inexpensive. It's like $5 and it's listed in my Amazon store. So links below. Like lots of people. Links below. I'm going to darken that up. And this is the Turner acrylic gouache. I did buy it online. I bought it I believe I bought it on Amazon. I believe it's in my store. If it's not in my store, Amazon store, I will make sure and get it linked up in there. Just get the color down, and then I can work on if I want any highlights on it. And this brush is working pretty well. I'm not going to worry. This paint, because it's so thick, it does not bleed together, because I'm not working with it in a really wet way. So I can paint wet right up next to wet, and it's not going to be a problem. I'm going to just put a little bit of some dry brushing right on it. There might be some, pattern design going into some of these. Some of these will just be cottons, and some are going to be velvets. Hoping that I can get velvety or satiny looking bits. I'm going to say right here is going to be another blue, maybe way lighter. Way lighter. But there's surprising colors that they put in too. So just because I started with blue and pink or blue and magenta doesn't mean that it's going to end up looking like, a little girl, little boy thing. However, you can do your quilt in a very specific colorway if you want. And look at that, see? And actually that area coming out around that hoop is going to be darker. There's going to be shadow there, right? Because it's pulling up the fabric. So there's going to be a bit of a shadow right there. And once you put it down, you can feather it out a little bit. You can add more water to it. Right now, this gouache is going on well, it is. It's acrylic paint, but it's acrylic that you can paint your other gouache right on top of too. Gouache is well, this gouache is a type of acrylic, okay, the acryl gouache. If it just says gouache, that is actually a type of watercolor paint that has opacifiers, things to make it less transparent. It makes it more opaque. So it has bigger particles that reduce the amount of light going through. So I've got two kinds of gouache out here right now. I have the acrylic gouache that I'm working with right now, and I need to rotate that. Rotate the painting. Don't get the painting over your don't put the paint canvas or paper or whatever over your palette. You will get paint on the back of it, and then you will be forever going, how on earth did I get paint back there? So I just gave that a little bit of a darker area. A little bit darker. So we're color blocking in the background first. The whole quilt, basically. I am going to clean that. You've been cooking three times a day, 7 days a week. And your husband goes out every 20 to 25 days. Yeah, well, my husband has to work, and because he works for a school district. So he has to go out, and he's cleaning buses and things like that. I have pretty much not, so I'm going to try and see if that paint is still soft, not cured yet. So it's not cured. That new blue that I just put down, so I can blend it out. Look at that. Blend out. You don't get the back runs on the acrylic gouache, but if you push too hard, you can work your way back through it if it's not cured yet, just like any kind of acrylic paint. Doesn't that look rich? I'm going to come over here and do the same thing. Just blend that out. This is just a wet brush now, and because the paint isn't cured, I can see it's picking up the pigment. I can move it. There we go. So I've been going out just for, basic necessities, and I do need to check on my parents from time to time because, stuff is going on. Need to help them out from time to time. But I do, I fully am, I'm fully covered with my mask, and I never take it off when I'm around them. And, even if they aren't always wearing their masks, I always wear mine. I am going to make an orangey color, so I'm taking that really pretty yellow deep and a touch of magenta, and let's see if we can get a kind of a pretty orange. So that's kind of a burnt orange color, and that makes me think of these colors right here. Some of these more burnt colors, you can take a little bit of white into it, and that will brighten it up. So now I've got a bit of a brighter orange and a darker orange. So I'm going to take that brighter orange or beigey orange color. It's really weird. It feels very warm in my space today. Usually my studio is a little on the cooler side. And maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. I don't have any kind of fan or anything like that in here because it would make too much noise. The only fan I've got is the computer making its noise down below the table. So hopefully it's not something coming up in the film, in the recording. So yeah, I went to the dentist yesterday. That was my big trip that I'd done. We've got our groceries being delivered. Let's see. I think I'm going to move over rotate, move over and do this one. I figure while we're in the just filling it in, this would be if I was doing a speed video. There's a little chunk there. This would be all sped up once I'd gotten through a couple of the little squares. Because like I said, this video, this show is going to take us a minute to work on. I will get it time stamped, so people will be able to bounce forward if they want to. I'm going to pick up, let's see, maybe a touch of that blue and mix that in and start getting a green. Ooh, that's pretty. Let's see, go over to my blue plop and grab some of that. I'm going to put a green right here. And now the greens, or the colors, do tend to be a little bit muddy now. They were, you know, on that quilt back in the day when they were first made, or when that fabric was first made, the colors were much more brilliant and much more brilliant, much more clean colors. You know, people liked color. Fabric was still not that, I mean, it was expensive, and that's why you would always see them making, you know, making do. Mend and make do. You know, always reusing, always getting things, let's see, into a new form. Making things into a new form. I am going to grab more white into that green. Now it's going kind of an olivey green. Kind of a light olive. I'm going to go like this. Kind of just put a little bit of texture. Kind of like a woven texture maybe. So I'm going both directions. A little bit lighter. Whoops, I need to rotate that. That curve actually needs to go the other way. I want it going around and then down. Oh, let's see. I'm taking a look at the chat real quick. You ordered an air fryer and you can't wait. Yeah, I love my air fryer. My empanadas that I made from Linda's recipe in real life was I cooked it in the air fryer. Just because. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty. Let's see if we can zoom in closer. Zoom in closer and then focus. See how you can start to see some of that bit of a woven texture in there? A little bit of a woven texture going on, making it feel more like little bits of fabric. All right, so I think I'm going to do another green one here, but it's going to be slightly different, maybe more yellowy green. See, now that I zoomed in, you can't see the palette where I'm mixing as easily. I think this one right here is going to be that yellow. No, this one right here. Because I've got the green touching the yellow there, blue touching there, pink there. We're going to do green here, and then we're going to have to introduce one more color at least. Oh, the purple, maybe the real purple. Add a little more white to that. If you add more water to it, you can get it to a much easier spreading consistency. You know, it's just like icing a cake. You get it to a consistency that works for you. To get it to cover, I just gave that just a little bit of white. The paint is really wet still. I think I'm going to grab a touch of Prussian blue. I just added Prussian blue to that. See, and that's how I work here, guys. I'm gonna give it a bit of a random texture. It's fun to, but I was going to use the Arteza gouache. I am going to use the Arteza gouache. I just saw that and went, ooh, let's do a little bit of texture right there. Let's give it a little bit of a shadow, darken up that green. I could put a bit of that darkened green, maybe a little bit more yellow in it. And I'm going to go ahead and say that this is part of that piece of fabric. So we've got, but it's more shadowed. So let's get that right up here. And yeah, I could be using a different brush, but because this is the acrylic, I didn't want to use my good watercolor brushes. You know, keep your brushes separated. You can use your watercolor brushes with acrylic gouache, but then you need to make sure that you wash them super well. If you only have one kind of brush and it's just a general use type of brush, you're probably okay. Just a little bit light there. Just sort of making that feel like it's all the same piece of fabric. Your wife wiped you down with Clorox when you fell off a cliff? Oh my goodness gracious. Hello, Lorianne. Hello, Kristen. Yeah, I know I hadn't said your guys' names yet. Anyhow, so we're just blocking this in, and I need to, let's see. I think I'm going to just use, since I've got that kind of greeny color on my brush, I'm going to put it in that little spot right there. Neat thing is we're going to be able to clean up all of our edges and use the all the colors to our advantage. But this is just a cozy, you know, cozy quilt, cozy crazy quilt. I'm just going to zoom out so you can see. Now, this is a piece of tape out here. I have this taped off around it. I'm trying to keep outside of the tape clean. We'll see how that works. But I can always trim this down, and I have it taped off to the same size that I've been using for everything else. I'm going to grab some of that diazonine purple and mix it with white and get a really pretty lavender. And I think that lavender, oh, maybe a little bit darker. That lavender is going to go boom right here. I like the straight edge. I know I kind of moan a little bit every once in a while about why did I choose that. I like the straight edge and the control that I get with a bright. That's basically what this is. This is a 5/8 inch bright. It's by Royal and Langnickel, and it is not linked in my stuff below because I didn't know that I was going to use it. It's in my acrylic brush pile, and I was making decisions right up as I was getting ready for the show this morning. All right. Oh, I like that color. Let's lighten it up just a little bit and bring some over here. Crazy quilts could be worked on a foundation. Many of the fabrics that they would use were a little less hardy, and so they would work them on a foundation, on a backing piece of fabric, and then they would back the whole thing with a muslin or something like that. And then, but they would do all of the top surface decoration before they backed it. So that way all of the ends were hidden. I am going to take that purple right over there. I'm going to bring it right up onto that pink. And right over here onto that green. You love the colors? You know, it's kind of primary, but not totally primary. It's slightly muted, but not totally mudded out. So I'm enjoying that too. I am looking at it. I'm looking around. I might need to make a brown. And I'm going to see if I can get kind of a teal green blue. I don't know if I can. Something to be a spark. Something that's a color that you only have like once or twice. You walked out about 3/4 of a mile. You fell down the cliff when you were spreading your parents' ashes. Oh my gosh. So, oh, that was many years ago. All right. Well, thank goodness you made it out safely. Obviously, you made it out safely because you're here. I'm going to take some of that Prussian blue and some of that yellow. And then maybe a touch of that dazzling purple. I know that it's got a little bit of a red in it. It's going to make it a different tone. And then I'm going to take a bit of that white and put it right here and see what we've got. Oh, that's just a nice general green color. I think I want yellow there. Let's take that general dark green, kind of a rich cedar. It's a natural looking green. It's not a carnival color green. It's not a straight from the tube green because we just mixed it. I love that you guys are sharing stories of your life. That is amazing. If you're not here during the chat, go ahead and play the chat back and read it as you're going through. It's a lot of fun. I go back and I read the chat. Hello, Period. Welcome, Period Decay. So where are you from? Normal day in Montana. See, Dan, my mom was born in Missoula and lived in Whitefish for many years. Well, many years of her upbringing is not actually many years. It's a long time for her, but she moved around a lot as a kid. I'm going to take some of that as my dark on my green, I think. Over here and right there and inside this section here. See, I'm just working my way around. I'm not being too fussy. A little bit right there. And then I will blend those out just a bit. This gouache, I'd the same gouache, Stephanie. This gouache is the, right now I'm using the Turner acrylic gouache so that I have it, once it's dry, it won't lift and move. Some colors dry more quickly than others, or if it does lift and move, it's very, very minimal. And then I have the Arteza gouache in pearl colors that I want to use. So that's what I'm doing. About 60 miles from Missoula is where you grew up, in Superior. Wow. Yeah, the colors are very rich. And that's the thing I like about gouache. Is look at that. It's not reflective. It's very rich and velvety. All right, but I do need, because these are acrylics and I'm not going to squirt it over my painting, I am going to mist these paints with a bit of water. This is just a lens cleaner bottle. And I need some of that yellow. See, I just sort of went boom right through the middle of that. I'm going to say that that yellow is up here on the top. Nice, clean, bright yellow for that one. Little tiny sliver. I want it to kind of pop. I can take some of the blue over that little join right there. I actually think that this is going to get a nice bright pop of yellow over here. See, now I'm trying to figure out how to lead my eye around. So I've got bright yellow there, a little bit darker yellow. I need something here, here. So I've got a few spots. Oh, there's a green. A little bit of green goes right there because that's the back side of I'm just going to go like that. Back side of the inside right there. So it's underneath. There we go. Oh, yes, that makes absolute sense, Amy. And many people, when they were doing these types of quilts, would make up little games for themselves and rules. Like, no color can touch the same color. So, now this person didn't make up those rules because this fabric and that fabric are probably the same fabric. This fabric is the same as that. But they've got some of these, that really rich kind of velvety blue in there. They've got some, brighter aqua type of blue, green. These vermilion pinks and things like that. I actually think I'm going to take the magenta and the yellow, and I'm going to warm it up. And then maybe just a smidge of blue to kind of muddy it down, that Prussian blue. So now I've got more of a burgundy, a richer color here. And I'm going to put that one right here. Ooh, I like that color. Yes. So just my regular announcement that I make, we are an art community channel where we don't do self-promotion. I'm the one who's allowed to say, hey, tell us about your whatever. And generally you have to be a member of the community for a little while to have that opportunity given to you. And usually it's held for the people that I use as moderators. So we're not being mean by not shouting out companies or people's businesses or things like that. We are just trying to keep it to the art. Trying to keep it to the art. Now, my moderator, Gina, she has a couple different businesses that she does, and she is allowed to, to post things every once in a while, and she is awesome about not abusing that. But when she's got a live stream coming up or something like that, I like to know. And many in our community are part of her community also, and they want to know too. So we do that. I want to check. No, I didn't get paint on the back of it. And because I'm working really in a very dry way, the paint is not really buckling the paper too much. See, there's a little bit of shadow there. That's where it's buckling in just a bit, but not too much. And that pink over there, I think I want to make it that burgundy. I like that burgundy. It's a lovely rich color. I'm excited to get to the doodling part. This part here is fun. It's fun to figure out what colors go next to each other and such. But you get to a certain point and you're like, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready to move on. I'm going to put just a tiny touch of some white on top of that. And right here on top of that. I know I'm zoomed out, but that was so you guys could get a better view of the whole project. This is all going to pull together. You like the sew lines because you can tell it's fabric. Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to look like it's just it's not going to be just a plain thing. We're going to be going in and doodling around the joins between the pieces of fabric. If you notice here, they don't put the same color all the way around. Sometimes they'll do stripes of a color if they're embroidery flosses or their metallic threads. So that's going to be fun when we get to that. What color should the main, or should I break this into a couple spots inside the main circle? So let me know, guys. Hello, Lise. Welcome. Welcome. Hey, guys, if you've just come in, make sure and click the like button. My friends who are here all the time, you guys know the drill. Go ahead and click that like button. If you're brand new, click that subscribe button. My channel is going through some growing pains right now. And sometimes those growing pains mean that I'm losing more than I'm gaining for subscribers. You know what? I think maybe we'll just do that magenta or that burgundy color across that one too. You can tell when I'm getting tired of a step when I start doing the ooh, that's a pretty purple. Ooh. I think we're going to do that right there. When I start filling in adjacent areas with a color that is already on one of the other adjacent areas, because I want to get to the doodling. I want to get to the drawing part of the painting. The drawing part of the painting. Ooh, that's a real interesting concept, eh? Maybe that will be my shadow around in that burgundy color. Ooh, that will work. And remember, I'm not worried about the ring, because we're going to... The circle would stand out more if it's a plain color. Yes, it would. So I was kind of thinking, yeah, and that is my problem. I will start thinking and start making things into much more fiddly detail than it needs to be. That edge right there, that I'm going to just streak across. Right there. My brush is sort of splitting apart, so I'm kind of trying to see if I'm going to get like a texture that I like, and if I don't, I can just fill it in. I think I like that. Joanna Basford, yes. Oh my gosh. I love her style. It's very similar to my style, and I think that's what I like about it. I'm going to let that dry for just a second. And you guys want to, how about this? Do you guys want a sneak peek of something that's coming up? I'm going to actually be doing a live stream. I'm going to show how to draw all of these things live, but I needed to have this done as a little mini book for people to be able to download. So if they want to come back just for the second video and paint, but they didn't want to do all of the doodles, the drawing, they would have this. So I made a little download. It's still in process. Title and things like that is still in process, but it's all doodle flower hearts. And so it's a little mini book with 6 designs that I'm going to show how to draw. And it is just done. Here, pull this one. It's just printed on a 8.5 by 11 paper. So look at that. It's already laid out and ready. So when a person prints it out, it's printed out 4 up like this. So you could cut it out and use them as individual Valentines, or make somebody a special Valentine coloring book. I want to know, and I think I'm going to color the cover. The image that goes on the cover is going to be in color, and the background is going to be in color. But what do you think, guys? Are you excited? Would you download this so that you had a downloadable 6 designs that you can use for Valentine's, you can use for Mother's Day, you can use for grandparents, you can use for friends, and you know, they're not specifically Valentine. They're more spring hearts. But this will be my marathon coming up. So we will draw all 6 designs and then take a break, and come back for a second video and do all of the painting on it. What do you think? You like it? You like that idea? Let me know. Leave me a comment in the comment section after the video, and tell me who you would give it to and why. And I will choose 3 people that I can, and I will message you in your comment. I will reply to your comment, and you will have access to download it for free. So I'm going to give away 3 copies of the little book, and it's a fast turnaround on this little giveaway. So you have to leave a comment and tell me who you would give it to and why. And I will just pick 3 people, just random. I'm just going to use a random picker from the comments in the comment section under the video, not in the chat. You can tell me in the chat if you want to, but that doesn't get you into the giveaway. So and I just made this up just now. So there's no form, there's nothing. It's just going to be a reply to you in the comments. So there we go. Yeah? Excited? The where to subscribe. If you are on your phone, you might have to go out of the chat to be able to hit the subscribe button. There, I don't know if on your phone or tablet, down in the bottom corner right here, I think you can hit subscribe or hit my icon and it will bring up the subscribe button. If you're on your TV, you can subscribe to the channel on your television also. There's like 3 dots down, either 3 horizontal or 3 vertical dots down at the bottom of the view, somewhere around here, I think, when you click on the line, the play line. Yeah, excellent. So welcome, I am Blink. I love it. So, color for the background. I want to keep it, I want it to be rich. Maybe in that, do we want it in that kind of deep purple? And then we do all of our decoration on it in the light. I think that's what I want. Because I've got enough other colors and I don't have the deep purple right there. So this is acrylic gouache. I'm using it to make that background not lift up. I'm just picking up white and purple together to start getting it in. There's that lovely little ribbon. I'm going to try and paint around it. I want there to be variation of tone in this, but I do want it to be flat. So that's going to be my trick. Can I get a variation of tone and keep it flat? I'm adding some water to it to improve the flow of that paint. We're painting on paper, so it doesn't matter how much water you add, really. You can take it all the way down to a watercolor effect. It's going to stick to the paper. We'll need to figure out what color we want that ribbon to be. I'm going to do a brown tone, light brown tone, I think, for the embroidery hoop. So there we go. I love when new people come in. Thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hitting the like button, guys. Sharing the video. If you're on social media, even if you don't have very many followers, really and truly, I don't have a lot of followers on social media. YouTube is my biggest social media following. And, we're trying to get to that 100,000 mark. I keep going up and then I lose a ton of subscribers because I have changed my focus to doing more of the figurative type painting, painting things that are real, not just painting doing the acrylic pouring. I loved the acrylic pouring, but if you look back at my channel, you'll see that even when I was pouring, I was doing stuff that made images that you could see what it was. So even when I was doing the pouring, I did that. My #1 pouring video is the cherry blossoms, and that is a beautiful it's a beautiful video, and it is something you can actually do those techniques with regular water or regular acrylic paints. You can do a lot of the techniques. So using balloons to paint, I have a whole series of greeting cards that I did using balloons as my brush, and you could do that with I'd have to test that. We'll have to test and see if we can do that with gouache. But right now we're painting this crazy quilt with gouache, and this is a very beginner friendly project. Reminds you of a Picasso with the shapes and colors. Ooh. Yeah, kind of, doesn't it? So what color do we want as our binding edge? Maybe the same, maybe I will use a brown. Yeah, if you want all the notifications, turn on the notification bell and select all. And that's great if you want to know whenever I post a new video, or post a new live stream that's coming up. Oh yeah, there's purple. Absolutely there's purple because, you know, it is... I'm going to actually dry that really quick. Now, this is acrylic. It can color shift if you use heat. I am using heat, but you can just use a regular blow dryer on cool to dry. I'm going to hold this back so it's just warm air, not the super hot, although it is going to be a little closer to the microphone if I do that. I just want to make sure it's dry, so when I go in and put my dry brushing on top, there we go. Just a little bit. Yeah, the paper did not even get warm, and it's still slightly damp. So I am putting some of that white and purple together, and I'm really working it into the brush and making it very dry. I just want to, let's see. I want to get it a little bit of some texture in a few spots. My brush is kind of split a little bit because it's so dry. And we'll see. You know, cool thing, if I don't like the effect, I can go over it with some more of the dark color. But see, this is one of the things with gouache, is that you can take light over dark. Even the regular gouache, you could do this whole painting with regular gouache. You don't have to have acrylic. You could do this whole painting with regular acrylic paint. You could do the whole painting with watercolor paint. You just wouldn't be taking the white over the top. You would still need to use gouache to do that part. You could do this whole painting with a pan of watercolor and one tube of white gouache. And you could put the white gouache into any of your colors. So if you just want to play with it, you want to try it out, you've got some watercolor already, just get one tube of white gouache. There we go. All right, Amanda, you take care, and see you after you have gone to work. Come on back and check out the video. More than happy to have you around. But stay safe. Stay safe. All right, so the binding edge. I need to come up with another color, and I'm going to grab a different brush. I think I'm grabbing, this is it's another Royal brush. It is a number 10 angle by Royal and Langnickel, and it's one of my acrylic brushes that I use. Yes, the ribbon is going to be the ribbon can be a pale color. That's really cool thing is that you can take the white or cool color. So I might paint it out with white and then paint it again. The white will go over and clean up all those edges. But I'm just going to let that dry and paint in my binding. So trying to come up with color that I want to use for the binding. And I think, do we want to do the binding as kind of a super light blue? Now this brush is not, it actually needs some time in the Art Sherpa brush spa. I've got some of the Art Sherpa soap and I love it, but I have not cleaned this brush. And the problem here is that there is acrylic paint down in the ferrule. And what happens is even when it's wet, I have to kind of squeeze it to get the tips to get that edge to kind of come together, and it doesn't, it splits. So I'm just going to have to be careful. And when it gets loaded with paint, it will sort of stick together more. I'm trying to see if I want to do kind of a super light blue for the binding, or I could go with a cream, just a creamy color. I want it to have kind of, I don't see the edge, the binding edge, to see what kind of a binding they did on the Crazy Quilt that I'm looking at. So just trying to work out what kind of a blue. If I want it to be way bluer, ooh, maybe slightly periwinkle. So that would be take just a touch of the magenta into it. A little bit more. Kind of a periwinkle blue. More white. There we go. Now we've got some variations of color. I am going to actually take a little palette knife, set it down, and kind of scrape across my brush. Look at all that paint that just came out of that brush. So by doing that, now I've got that paint where I can use it. Before, it was all worked up deep into the chat. You notice there was a delay, so you waited for me to get to the chat. Ah, thank you, Amanda. And you take care. And have a great day. So now I'm loading my brush, and I'm trying to keep the brush down in the tip, not working it all the way back up. So this is, I'm saying that's binding there. And it kind of curls up inside. Now, this would be really pretty if you wanted to do it with pastels and make it for, say, a wedding quilt card, or do it with, you know, those, when you don't know the gender of the baby, doing the gender neutral type quilt, and then just hold on to it until you've got the quilt card, and just hold on to it until you've got the name of the baby, and then you can put the name and date on the card, so it's like the baby announcement. But you had it all done before the baby was born, so then you didn't have to worry about it. This brush, I think, is going to drive me nuts. Yeah, this brush is going to just make me nuts. I'm going to not use that. You love the blue and the yellow? Yes. Yeah, Bertie Ann. Bertan. Bertian. Bertian? Where are you from? Bertian. Bertie, where are you from? It sounds very French. The name sounds very French. I am grabbing one of the Sterling Studio. I'm grabbing the Sterling Studio #1 round liner, I believe is what this one is. Oh, it's just a round. Just grabbing the round. And I'm going to use it because I want a little bit more control, except that this one is really not, I am really not good with my brushes. My acrylic brushes end up being very, very sad looking. I need to find a brush that's going to give me my control that's like my Mimic brush. Oh, Okay, this one here is the Arteza. One of the Arteza brushes that comes in their big set. Ooh. Okay, so look at that. I'm able to pick up the paint. It's filling up the filaments. Heh. All right, that's making me happy. So the Arteza brushes, I don't use them very often. I should use it more. I'm going to take a little bit of the darker blue and just paint it in while I'm here, and know that that part is underneath. So, you know, I'm lucky I do have, and then this one's even a little bit darker right there. It's even darker because this one goes out and around, so this part here coming back is in even more of a shadow. And this is just the binding edge, so oh, this would be a lovely color for a boy's quilt. But this could be anybody. The cool thing, this could be for anybody, anything, any occasion. You could use this as a card. And if you just want to do the coloring in and you don't want to do the drawing, look at that. I have this as a downloadable book. I'm just trying to flip to that page. So, show you where we started and where we are right now. Come on, zoom out. There we go. So I have a downloadable book with all of the designs for this month, just waiting for you on Teespring. The link is in the chat down below, and it will be in the iCard. But I already did all the hard part. Then it's just coloring in and personalizing it to make it look like your own. This is just somebody's made in 1899. This quilt. So isn't that cool? So there we go. And if you like my art and you want to, you are from Kurdistan. Wow, welcome. Oh, you saw my face mask. Yeah, the lemon one. It's like, don't be a sourpuss. It's kind of my inner joke for the lemon, face mask. But I also, the face mask, or the lemon, is also made into so of course I'm now zoomed in into one of the, I have the lemon is also on one of these bags. This is my bumblebee bag. And that's on Teespring too. I haven't even shown that online before. So, all right. I need to just get this painting in. The reason why I don't tend for these skinnier brushes usually is that you can't paint in a very smooth layer quickly. You have to have the paint at the right consistency to just flow off your brush. There you go. Just flow off the brush. Look at this. I'm resting up. Let's see if I can do this backwards. Can I do it? I'm trying to change. Look at that. I did it. I reached over underneath of my arm and see, I've got my little finger is resting right here so that I can get some leverage. And I'm not pushing my whole hand down. I'm just using my finger so that way I've got room to move the brush. And you can go forward and backwards with it. So this is an inside bit, so I'm going to take that a little bit darker That's an inside bit. So I need those both a little bit darker. So I just added a little bit more Prussian blue to that blue. So I can get that inside bit. Just dipped my brush into the water. And there's a little bit that would be underneath right there. But some light will be shining. So I'm going to have some embroidery coming along these edges. So, you know, it's going to get cleaned up as we go along. And as I said, this is going to be, we're going to be here for a little while. This is a video that is definitely going to have to be time-stamped. Because we're already here for almost an hour and a half. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. I appreciate, woo, I just went a little wild. See, when I curl up on my hand, I lose the control. I need to stay up on my little finger. There we go. Up on my little finger, right here on the very edge. I'm going to make it lighter. And then I can blend it. And if you put a light color over a dark color, you can put a dark color over a light color. You know, you can go both directions. Gouache is amazing. You love my job too? Yeah, I love my job. I do. I love it. And I love that you guys are here and that you're having fun and enjoying yourselves and chatting and painting and doodling and doing things that are cozy and make your heart happy. That is really and truly the thing that I want people to take away from my shows, is that you need to do things that make your heart happy. This is a crazy world we live in right now. And there's not many things that we have all the control on, right? But your art and the way you feel about it is totally under your control. You get to decide how you feel about your art. You get to decide. Ah, look at that. That made me happy. You get to decide where your brush goes, what colors you use. I think I'm going to just take the rest of that area right there and just make it blue. I'm just going to, that's going to be just a fiddly little space. And I'm just going to say, it's blue. Ha! See? That's what I talked about earlier, is that you can tell if I'm getting, you know, bored with an area or something is just not working. I don't want those two tiny little blue colors right there, or two tiny little white colors right there. I want them blue. So I made them blue. Grab a little bit more white into there. And just make it your own. Yeah, Amy, you take care of yourself. You know, when you that's one of the things here, is that we do care about our community, and we care that you are taking care of yourself and doing the things you need to do that. So if that's taking breaks, you can always take breaks from videos here, videos on the channel. Just take a break. You can come back when you are in a position to do so. The videos are going to be here. They're not going away. All right. I'm going to put a little bit of that darker blue up here. I'm going to make that binding just a little bit wider. Look at that, because we can. We can go right over the top of all those other colors. Because we have the white in that, it's going to just cover so nicely. And then because I want lighter out here, I can just take the lighter paint, boom, right over that darker paint. And say I want to see a bit of that edge, maybe a little bit stronger. See, as you start getting more and more detail, you start working your way down. I need to mix up a little bit more of that blue to finish off this bit of the binding. And the binding is going to be pretty much this wide, maybe a little bit wider in, and cover some of those edges. And then I might just leave, whoop, didn't realize I had water on the edge of my brush. I'm going to take, I'll just take a palette knife. Look at that. You can take a palette knife. I'm going to find a little spot of that white that's still good. Mix that there. Touch of the scrape my paint in. That's too purple, so I need more of my blue. And this is just a piece of plastic, corrugated plastic, right? It's just that same stuff that we always use to tape our paintings down on. Squish that off. There, see, got most of it off of my palette knife now. The blue, yes. It's a fun blue. Yeah, gotta tell the brush to stop tinkling on the painting. That's my fault. You know, I don't give it enough times to take a break, I guess. I want a little bit more white. There we go. And I am curled up on top of my hand, and I don't really want to be. There. Stay mindful to how you are putting your hand down, how you're putting the brush down. You know, you can slide on that finger. You know, that little finger that's down on the paper. You don't have to use it just as a pivot point. You can actually slide on that finger. And you can get more coverage when you get all of the bristles down on the paper. See, just like that, you can get more coverage. I want to get this edge basically finished. I think what I will do, that area underneath of it, I think is going to be left pretty much white. And what we will do is put a soft blue-gray background or shadow underneath of there after we get all of the rest of the painting done. Just going and getting the rest of that. I want a nice fluid line. Whoop! See, I just went wild with that, and it's okay. Actually, I'm gonna make it thicker going off the edge on purpose. And then just make sure that I've got all that white covered. See how we've got that, it feels almost ribbony going across now. Put that brush up there so it doesn't fall on the floor. And let's go back to the top down and zoom out. See how that feels like a ribbon going around? And that's just because we've got the light and the dark showing up. A little bit more light on this edge here maybe. So I need a touch more white. And it also thickens the edge of the fabric just a bit when we do that. Going off the edge. Just put that a little bit thicker right up here. And a little bit of that darker blue right under there. Yeah, so I do get, oops, too much water. I do get fiddly, and that is, you know, that is my, I guess that's part of the charm of my artwork, is that I do like details. I do like details, and I like sharing those details. I am going to grab a bit of yellow. Someday I will be as skilled as our Stephanie. Absolutely you will. And it is skill. It is all skill. It is tons and tons of practice. And not just practicing with, you know, drawing, or not just practicing with painting, but practicing with just looking at life. Just went and looked for a little bit of bright yellow. Yeah, that's going to be good. Trying to get some of my bright yellow without any of that other green in it. Oops. There we go. Come on. I don't have it wet enough. And I don't have, it needs a little bit of white in it. So those of you who were like, why does she have so many plops of white? Look at that. I've used up all of my plops of white. Whoops. There we go. Just, it's just about time to move into my regular gouache. I'm going to because I want to do the surface design with the regular gouache, but I just want to get a few of these little spots trimmed in. Hey, Gail. So just a few of these spots, like between these colors. I'm just going to put like a little stripe of a darker version of one of the colors. So this set is getting a little stripe of the magenta. And I want to deepen up the tone on that one. So, you know what? And I know it was the burgundy there, but I'm not worried about it. I'm just want a clean line. Give me a clean line. There we go. Now I'm going to take some of that Gosnine purple. And I'm going to give it kind of a clean line right there. And right there. Kind of just covering up the white little bits. And then going, I think that one's whoops, make sure I don't have any drippy drips. I am going to take, and I'm going to go ahead and just make a pattern with the acrylic gouache. This might have been like a satin with that little woven pattern in it. Many of the fabrics they used were ties, silk ties, velvets from dresses, or fancy clothes. All right, and there was a drop of water that hit right there. See, it didn't pick up the color because the color was dry. We need to get the ring on there, but I think the ring is actually going to be at the very end. So we're going to have a little bit of time with that messy looking ring. I am going to spritz this with water, let it set over to the side. Not where I'm going to set anything in it. Yeah, I guess I can set it right there. And I need to find another piece of something to use as a palette. There we go. See, it's been used as a palette. This is all dry. I'm just going to flip it over and use the back side for my Arteza. For my Arteza colors here. And we are going to start, doodling. So I am going to be using this little liner type brush. This is the Arteza liner brush. And I just dropped my paper towel. There. Clean paper towel. That way you guys don't have to look at me clutching my glompy paper towel. So if you're new here, guys, click that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends. If you're interested in my designs for this month, I'm painting all of the designs in this book. You can download them and print them on watercolor paper, mixed media paper, and you can have all kinds of... The Pop-Tarts yesterday turned out so good. I am so excited by the Pop-Tarts. Today's is the Crazy Quilt. Tomorrow is the basket of roses or peonies. So, yeah. I mean, we've got... Oh, and then we've got the townhouse window coming up with... It's either a dog or a cat. It can be either one. And so many fun things in this book. They were all done on a 14-hour marathon. It's broken into 2 videos, one that's 12 hours and one that's almost 2. Okay, that's enough of that. So subscribe and share and all those good things, guys. I am going to start decorating, and I'm trying to think. I think I want to go in and maybe paint a butterfly on one of these bigger pieces. So we're going to zoom in. We're going to paint a butterfly, but you know, butterflies can be a little tricky because they are sort of symmetrical. I am going to go ahead and grab a pen or a pencil. I guess I'll use a pencil. So I've got a pencil. You can use a pen. You can use anything that you want. You could draw with chalk if you wanted to. And I am going to put the center of the butterfly right here. You cannot see that. His top wing, bottom wing. Oh yeah, you can. You can see that. Top wing and bottom wing. And you know, this little guy is kind of symmetrical. Neat thing is that I just need it as an outline. So what is this? This is a crazy quilt that we are painting with gouache on watercolor paper. And I am getting ready to start doing some of the design work on some of the pieces. So it's a very, this is a very kind of calming and meditative type of artwork. I'm grabbing some white. This tube of white is just about done. I want to put a couple plops of it out. So we've got different spots with white. You can use the little tube ringers on these like once to get any of the gouache that's in the back moved forward. These are metal tubes. And I do have another tube of white sitting here. I am going to take this pearl purple. So that's a pearlescent purple and a pearlescent green, pearlescent emerald green. So these actually have some shimmer mica in them. The pearl blue. And, ooh, oh, I already put the pearl purple. So I want the bumblebee yellow. This is not a pearl color. Oh my goodness gracious. This one is, let's see if I get that a little bit wet. And I might have to have my husband come and grab this tube of yellow from me. If he hears me. I can't open it. I'm trying to open this, guys, and all I'm doing is starting to twist the whole container. And that squeaky noise is my door. I live in a house that was built in 1942. So it's been around for a few minutes. And this is the original door that's in here. And it's the original hinges. And Mark is awesome, and he got it popped loose. Bumblebee yellow is kind of the cadmium yellow color. They don't, it's PY1 and PY3 for the bumblebee yellow. So the Arteza gouache is a re-wettable gouache. It is not acrylic. It is just like watercolor, but it is opaque. So I hope that helps. The crazy quilts that your family made were made from scraps of polyester blend fabrics. Yes. Crazy quilts made in the 60s and 70s definitely would have that. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of this vermilion red out. It's very orange. It's more orange than a cadmium red would be. I need to get the piece of hair. See, pieces of hair. Oof. I have long hair and I do shed. So I find hair all over the place. A little bit of ultramarine blue also. Just getting some colors out so that we have a palette of colors to play with. And yes, my husband is incredibly supportive. And this is the Scarlet, which is a little bit bluer. It's not a real blue-red, but it's a little bit bluer. And now I need to find where I dropped my lovely little... This is the liner brush, my rigger brush from the Creative Mark. Hello, Owen, you're at school right now. Well, I hope that you're able to be in a place where watching a video is a good thing. Do you have it on mute and you're just kind of watching? Let's see. I am also looking for my big number 12. Because these are just watercolor, I can use my regular brushes And now I'm going to zoom in. I think we are going to give it the butterfly is going to get a base of the ultramarine blue with a little bit of white in it. Hello, Esma. Welcome. You're watching this at school and you are in the 3rd grade. Welcome, Owen. Make sure that you're doing it okay with your teacher. I hope that you're in art class right now. So right now what I'm doing is I'm filling in the butterfly, and I'm just not being too particular on if I have my colors mixed perfectly. You will find the antique quilts, the antique crazy quilts that are out there will have many different. So Esma, you're in Turkey. Oh gosh. Mahaba? Is that hello? I believe that's hello. I watch a couple on YouTube that are from Britain that are living in Turkey right now, traveling in their van. And they've been learning Turkish to speak. You are not in art class. Oh, Owen, well, make sure that you're not going to get in trouble. That's the mom in me. Did your mom tell you don't get in trouble in school? Yeah, that's the mom in me. I'm pleased that you're doing something that is creative and productive. But always make sure that you're, doing it with permission, so nobody can get mad at you. They shouldn't be mad at you for watching an art video, but, if you're supposed to be doing your writing, your English or something, and you do this, that could get a little bit tricky. So Bonnie, I believe Bonnie does the homeschooling with her kids because of the world situation. So she is a teacher. And truthfully, all parents are teachers. Parents are the first teacher a kid ever has. Ooh, look at that. That one's a whole lot lighter. So make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Please share the videos with your friends if you have social media that you like to share on. Make sure and tag @deliberatelycreative with your artwork. And that's what we say about that, eh? So, the painting that would be on quilts would be more, generally would be more naive, rustic, folk artish. Sometimes you would have people who were very, very skilled. I'm going to take a little bit of that emerald green pearl, I think. And just give it a couple little dots of emerald green pearl. Oh yeah. And then a couple little dots of some white. Just Not so happy with those dots of white. I am going to smooth them out. Nice thing is, this is regular gouache. And if you don't like something, you can, if it's still wet, you can just blend it out. If it's dry, you can just paint right over it. So I'm just going to blend that out. See, I knew this was going to be a long show. And I appreciate you all for hanging out. I'm just taking some of that blue up, and I'm going to use that liner brush and just use some of the blue, that rigger. I'm just going into that blue with the rigger. See, getting it kind of inky and twirling the brush so that it's filling up that brush really nicely. I'm just going to use that to go put the body, put the antennas, and I'm going to put a little, kind of a little circle. Like that. And maybe a little bit of a shadow right there. Boom. That's it. Just a sweet little butterfly. Early childhood education. Yep. One of my sisters has worked in, she has an early childhood education degree, and she has been working for a kindercare for over 30 years. She's been working for kindercare. So she started working for them when she was very young. Yes, it is a very long stream, Owen. So you can come in and go out and, hang out and do what needs to be done, get schoolwork done, all those things. I'm taking some of the vermilion. This is the Arteza gouache. And I am going to put some like little seed pattern. I'm just touching the tip of the brush down, like little seeds or flames. Just making a little pattern. I like that. Sort of touch and pull, but not very much. I'm just barely touching. The Crazy Quilts got to be very popular with the Japanese also. And so Japan, they would have beautiful kimono fabrics, silks and such that they would use. So turn of the century, it was a lot more global than you think. Students and shenanigans. Yeah. Well, I worked in education for almost 24 years. It was just short of 24 years. And just got to a point where I really wanted to do my artwork full time. I'm going to grab some more, I'm going to grab some of that purple pearl. And we're going to go in here and do kind of a purple pearl striping. This is going to have some shimmer. This is all part of the doodling process. You can doodle with a big brush, you can doodle with a little brush, you can doodle with pens. We're going to do some pen doodling here in a minute. I am happy that it's sort of breaking apart. It's heavy in some spots and light in others. Oh, look, you can see that little bit of pearl shine. And that's going to stay shiny. That's not going to disappear. So you're looking at the chat, Owen. Yeah, this is a nice, safe place to be. We're a safe place. Most of us are either moms or dads or grandpas or or kids who are ducking out from class. I'm coming over here to this one and going, let's see. I think I want to do maybe let's see, on that one, I want to do a bright circle that we can then do some embroidery around. So I'm going to take some of that bumblebee yellow and a touch of white. And I'm going to put kind of a bright circle here. Now, if I was doing this on the regular gouache background, I would have to be super, super careful with how I was working my brush back and forth, because the gouache underneath would lift up. But because I used the acrylic gouache for my base, and now I'm working on using the regular gouache on top, we have, actually I think there's going to be a bit of a circle polka dot right there. It's turning into polka dots. You can work your brush and not have to worry about lifting the color underneath. That's where I was going with that. So we're just going to start putting things in that we can embroider around. See, this is layer number 2, which is putting the surface decoration of the fabric in. Oh my goodness gracious. So pretty. And if it shows up, if the background is showing too much through it, you can just go back and put another layer of paint right on top. See? Gouache is opaque. It lays on really nice and thick. You don't want it to be so thick that it will flake off. So that circle right there is a little bit too thick. I'm just using it as my palette to pick up more paint and move it around. There we go. And just make that more of a circle. A few little polka dots. Just because I want to. Try the quilt in watercolor. Oh yeah. Definitely do it in watercolor. And if you want to do colors over the top of other colors, just make sure that you're working as you know, from your light colors to your dark colors, and leave the spaces that you want light. All right, I think I need to change my cup of water, because my cup of water, you see when this brush is clean, that water is gray now that's coming out. I don't want gray water. So unfortunately, my other plastic cup was in use. So now I've got a glass jar of water right here. I'll just show you real quick. And it also lets us see this in a bigger view. So I've got my glass jar of water is sitting right here. And that's how gray that water was. It was showing up gray on my paper. You want to change your water more frequently when you're using gouache. I'm going to do something green up here on that gold, and I think it's going to be maybe little metallic squares or square-ish shapes. See, just like that. Let's zoom back in. Bye, Bertiam. Thank you for being here. And remember, guys, click that subscribe button and hit the like button. If you just came in, hit that like button. If you like what you see, if you're enjoying the company that we have here, if you're enjoying the art that I'm doing, it's very much, this is very much an abstract style, really. Crazy Quilts don't have as much in the way of, you know, a repeating pattern. That's why they're crazy. But you can have some repeating patterns in your fabrics. This is, I am using the emerald pearl, and it comes, you can buy the pearl gouache colors separately, or you can buy them as a, in the 60 color set. It comes with the pearls and the metallics. So I'm just having fun. I'm taking care of myself. I'm giving myself time to really enjoy the project. You know, sometimes when we rush through a project just to get it done, we don't get as much enjoyment out of it. Sorry about the clinking sound. There we go. Yeah, Linda, I think that you would be an awesome preschool teacher. Okay, so there's the shimmer, because that was a pearl on that yellow. I think I'm going to take, and I want to do something, maybe a flower on that one that we can embroider around, or maybe it will just be an open work flower. So let's see if we take our gold metallic. Ooh. I want to put a base of a color down, and then we'll put the rest around it. So I'm going to rotate this. So I want, maybe it's a little bird. Maybe we've got a little bird being painted on there. So I'm just going to take some white first. And I'm going to give it a little head. Using the white first, and then maybe a little wing. I think it's a hummingbird. Little body. Little tail. And the head. Okay, so maybe his little wing is flipping forward and that little wing is going backwards. I don't have a picture of a hummingbird right here for me to look at. You love your India? Are you from India? Coil art? Are you from India? All right, so now I'm going to take some of that green. Let's see, I'm trying to work out the direction of the feathers. Kind of sweeping. No, I don't like that. You are in Turkey. So, Blink is in Turkey. I got that right. Yay, I got that right. So look at that. Look at how I can just use some water, because the background blue is the is done in the acrylic paint. I can just wipe that off. Say I didn't like that wing, and maybe the size of the head is a little bit big. I can just trim it down a little bit. There. And then say I want that wing, but I'm going to have it go backwards more. Like that. give him a little bit more of a tummy. We're going to go in with some of the purple at his little throat and up here on the top of his head. Maybe a little bit down his side, a little flash on his tail. We're going to take some of that metallic pearl green and just put that up there. See? We can just make it work out. This is going to be a shimmering little hummingbird on that quilt. And then we need like a super dark. You do love foreigners. Yes, I have many people who have come to my shows that are from India, and you are the most loving and caring group of people. I'm taking just that dark blue. It's got little feet, so I'm just going to say a couple little spots for little feet. And just, even though it's not metallic, I'm going to take a little bit of this scarlet and put it right here at his throat and right here on the top of his head. I know it's tiny and little tiny details. All right, Blink, thank you so much for coming. It's very late for you, isn't it? It would be very late. And thank you, Coil Art. So Coil Art, what is your first name? So we've got that little flower, or that little bird. Now I think I'm just going to do a couple little flowers, and they're just going to be with the metallic and just using the tip of the brush, and then maybe a little bit of white. Just a few little flowers, nothing super detail. But this would be where, you know, people would put their own personality into it. They would paint, they would design. Coil Mandal. Nice to meet you, Coil Mandal. So I've got some little leaves just sort of popping up in here. Oh my goodness. There we go. So now we've painted a cute little hummingbird. Maybe a little bit more white in a couple of those flowers. Just like that. Nothing, you know, nothing too detailed. The paints they had were not necessarily all that great. They were in the usually oil paints is what they would have to use on fabric. They didn't have acrylic paint in 1899. Acrylics didn't come into being made, I think, until the 1950s or the early 60s. So that's pretty. I think that blue, ooh, we've got that blue metallic there too. A little bit of the blue metallic. So they wouldn't have had, you know, all of the colors that we have. We are very, very spoiled for colors. And I think that's cool that we have that opportunity now. All right. I think maybe I'm just going to put a little bit of that blue just as a texture in the background. And these are so fun to play with. Oh, wow. Oh, look at that. We're getting some nice shimmer in there. My hummingbird might be upside down. I just realized that. Oh, well, you know what? It's a crazy quilt, and things are meant to be turned around and to be checked on and to be tried and to be played with. And wow. All right. We are going to, let's see. I think I'm going to use some of that scarlet, and I am going to go over here and I am going to make like 3 little shapes. Make it like little, not like 3 petal flowers. Not quite a whole cross mark or X. It's like doing an X but without all of the legs. That works. Let's see. Where else do I want to put that red? Since the red is on my brush. And once a color's on your brush, you know, use it. Use it. Let's see. Maybe we're going to use it in the middle of those polka dots. Some of the color combinations would be very surprising to you. And to me. So Coyle, what you are in grade 7. So does that mean you're around 12 or 13 years old? Just asking so I know the kind of the level where you are. And so you like to do art and competitions? You paint hummingbirds on cookies. Thank you. You're going to try a quilt, try a hummingbird on your quilt too? Excellent. Yeah, the neat thing is in this world is if there's somebody that you really want to meet, there's usually a way to figure it out. I'm looking, trying to go around and say, okay, I need a little bit more texture right here in this area. And then we're going to, but I could put the texture in with the pen, but I think I need a little bit of pattern down here. So. Okay, good. Good, Coyle. Thank you. Yeah, so you're the same age of the kids that I used to work with. I was the computer technology support specialist for a middle school, which is grade 6, grade 7, grade 8. So basically 11 to 14-year-olds are who I used to work with. And then the adults in the school too. Let's see. I'm just making that shiny. Just because I wanted to. No, for no other reason than I wanted it to be shiny. Kind of like the satins. And let's see. Bit of white. Well, that's a really, really itsy bitsy little space. So I'm not going to worry about that one. Maybe this one's just going to get white dots. I think I kind of like the white dots, maybe line. Do dots and lines. It would be an interesting patterned fabric. Just a lovely, simple little patterns. So there we go. Maybe a little bit of that white on that butterfly, just because. And we are, I think we're getting closer to being at the point where I need to put that ribbon in. So let's see here. I think the ribbon is going to be put in with white first, and it's going to be a light color. But I'm going to put it in with white, even though it's white underneath, because I just want to kind of clean up the edges. Need more water in my paint so that it will flow. The ribbon is definitely going to be, you know, handmade or hand painted ribbon here. It's definitely growing in size. So there we go. And I'm just going to paint that all white, and we will put the detail in with the colors. So I'm painting the little ends. And then the rest of it is just going to get painted. You see how you can kind of see the color through it, but when we put color on top of the white, it's going to be much more solid. Your cookie making was your hobby before you met me? Ah, Linda, I love your cookies. Your little bear cookies that you made. I know those weren't quite the same decorated type cookies, but they were still decorated. They were so cute. All right. Wow, 2 hours. Actually, this is kind of online with what I thought was going to happen. I am going to dry that really quick. This is standard gouache, so I can go ahead and just dry it with my heat tool real fast. The acrylic gouache you don't want to get too close to. With the super hot of your heat tool, you really would, it's really better to use my brain just went dead. Hairdryer on cool air. Hello, Harlan. Welcome. You made it. I've been here long enough that you made it. All right, so let's see here. What color is this banner? The banner is going to go this direction. What color am I going to do that banner? And where did I set my little rigger brush? See, I keep... Oh, there it is, in my lap. I keep dropping my rigger brush places. All right, let's see. So we want to keep it to a light color. I could go with a pale yellow and then a dark yellow on the inside, shadowy bits. So maybe that darker yellow right in here, brighter, darker. And then take a lot more white into it. So there. Maybe a touch of the red in that. Ooh, that's really orange. Let's grab some white. Oh yeah, there we go. Kind of a peachy, orangey yellow color for in that darker space. that would be in that back behind bit. Ribbons are one of those things that once you learn how to do them, you have a skill that you can use that people think is kind of magical. Being able to see the folds in something that's flat really makes people very excited. So I'm going in, getting my dark in the back. And zooming in, because you know what? We're back way too far. There we go. Yeah, I don't know where Shakira lives. One of the things to do would be to follow her on social media and start finding out, more about her. Maybe do a report on her life. See if you've got a project at school that requires like a biography of a famous person, and then write your report about how you admire her. And I'm just adding more of that brighter color so that I can sort of feather it out towards the ends. Or look at your school library and see if you can find a biography on her. I'm pretty sure that there is some type of a biography on Shakira. So that is one of those things. All right, so now that's kind of, I will brighten that up with a little bit of white in a minute, but I want to get the other side kind of caught up. Get that darker orange yellow in the background. And generally speaking, I would not stay with this tiny little brush, but just because that's where I am right now, I'm just staying with the tiny little brush. Use the brush that makes you happy and that gets the job done. Don't struggle through with a brush that is less than satisfactory. I like how the paint flows off of this brush. So it's one of the reasons why I kind of stuck with it. There we go. Boomity boom. Boomity boom. All right. Yeah. So we've got lots of cookie baking going on in our group right now. We're talking about cookie baking. I'm going to take some of that bright yellow and my big brush. This, like I said, this is still the Arteza gouache. And I'm going to paint it on over that white that we did. The thing about doing the yellow is that because we're on top of a purple background, it's really going to pop. And because I'm on top of that white background of the paint that I laid in underneath, it's actually lifting up and giving me some natural shading. You can still see some of the the purple showing through. So what I want to do is grab some white and just start working that in. Kind of like a highlight at the top of my ribbon. And out here on the little flaggy bits. And this is where you could put, you know, a wedding date or a person's name. You can put a picture right here. I think I'm probably going to put a flower in that space. Thank you very much. Yeah, I love art. I love sharing art, and I love being able to share things that are positive in the world, because we need more positivity. We need more light. Need more light in the world. So I cleaned the brush out, and now I'm picking up just white, a little bit thicker, just to hit those edges. So thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for sharing your time with me. And isn't it the middle of the night right now? 1:30 in the afternoon for me. Because 10, 11, it's like 12:30 in the morning. I have not visited India. I would love to visit India. There's many areas that I have seen pictures of and have watched shows about. All right. Okay, so I am going to... It's more gorgeous than the photo reference. Well, you know, here, let's zoom out and I'll show you what the photo reference and what I've been... I changed the colors up and made it my own, you know. You can definitely tell this is my style. It's definitely being done by somebody in a more modern, you know, with a more modern color palette and a little bit more modern aesthetic. So I think what I want to do is start putting on some of the finer details, and I need to test to see. This is a really pretty sparkly I don't know if you can see the sparkle. Can't really see the sparkle. It's very pretty, it's very sparkly, and I don't think it's waterproof, so I have to wait for putting any of that on until... Ooh. Well, the sparkles kind of move a little bit. So I guess I could put some of it down, and if I decided to put water on it, it would... The pigment part of it stays. The sparkle kind of moves. So that's interesting. I hadn't tested that. So this is the Arteza premium glitter pens, acid-free, non-toxic. I will get that listed in the more information box. I think we are going to go and use some of those colors like embroidery floss. So I am going to zoom in. I am going to look at some of these designs. And we are going to start getting some of the designs going. I probably should check. See, this one doesn't show up very much over dark. So that's nice to know, right? So if I want to use this pen, I'm going to have to use it over light areas, and you're really not going to see that. I just have to finish with that now. And then I'll pick it up and see if we can see it. The yellow is very, very light, but it's so sparkly. Oh, there it is. There it is. You can see it. So it will be one of those just little surprise colors. I'm going to put it one more place. Just sort of like little sideways lines. Just so that it's got... Whoa, that's really out of focus. There we go. So we've got that shiny sparkle in there. All right, yellow is not going to get used anymore. Let's try... Let's see if the... Okay, so these colors are not going to show up very well over dark. So I think... Let me see. So I've got the shiny color Sarasa zebra pens. They're not even open yet. So these are shiny, and yeah, see, they haven't even been opened yet because they still have the little plastic nub on the end. Oh, okay. So what I want, let's find I think I like this kind of leafy pattern that's going on. Bye, Mark. Have a lovely day at work. So it's sort of like two V's. So we're looking at V. Oh, that's going to show up. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. Thank you. Yeah, I've been on YouTube for over 5 years. This is making me happy. So this is the shiny color Sarasa Clip by Zebra Pens. It is a gel ink, and the color matches the barrel, and it actually matches the barrel pretty well. Surprisingly so. Okay, I want to take that color in another place and maybe do like the lovely kind of stretched out cross stitch embroidery. Oh, sorry. Whoa, I was almost completely off the screen, wasn't I? Let's get that. Well, part of it's because I went ahead and zoomed in. So here, we'll do kind of this almost cross stitch V. This is where you can go absolutely crazy with designs. Have fun. Actually, I started working on this and didn't eat breakfast. And it's after lunchtime now, so my tummy's a grumbling at me. Oh, this is fun. So this kind of takes you back if you did, if you were one of those people that did a lot of doodling with gel pens. This takes me back. All right, I want to try another color though. Because this is a crazy quilt, we can try all the colors, right? I think, let's see if this kind of, see, and again, hasn't been opened yet. They come with this lovely little cap that seals the end. I think that's going to be two Let's see. Sorry about that. I'm sampling it on my dark color to see if that, I think that one's just a little bit wimpy. So the bronze color, not my favorite. How about this kind of melon? It's a little soft. It doesn't have as much of the white pigment in it. Maybe the green. See, that's part of the fun here. Oh, the green's gonna be good. Yeah, the green's gonna be good. So I think I'm going to actually use the green to make stitching on my ribbon. And I've gone right off the screen. Let's get that gouache and water out of my way so I don't get them on back of my piece of art. Lovely little stitching on that ribbon. So it ends up feeling kind of like a little grosgrain ribbon, or that's just how it was stitched down. So this would make a lovely card or journal cover, or, ooh, that looks pretty. Might even put couple little stitches of that in the back there. So now it really makes it feel like that is a piece that's folding in and out. Anna, I'm good. I don't need to grab anything to eat right now. I'm good. I am going to go in and see, I'm really looking at this and going, do I want to put little medallion that's sort of like, looks kind of like satin stitching? So we would go in with a circle and another circle on the outside of it, and then do little lines close together. And then I'll see if I've got another, is there another green? There isn't another green. Maybe the blue. Maybe the blue? And then I can go in to the center and just make, this is all doodling. Doodling, doodling, doodling. And let's see if I go like this. Then I can actually go around it. It's kind of like a little eyeball, isn't it? That's kind of fun. And then and then I can go like that with the pen, touch the very center, and then maybe make some dots around the inside of it. So maybe that's that little design right there. Just have fun. And maybe I will go ahead and use that one as my date for having made this, and I think I'm going to use the blue. And I'm going to put the 2020 in here. 21. We did this painting in 2021. I don't usually date my paintings, but because it's a quilt, there we go. So that is, it's dated in there. I am going to they really like that sort of kind of an X type of shape for some of their embroidery. Wow, there's some texture on here from some of that paint. some of the acrylic gouache. I've got some texture on here. Nice thing is the acrylic gouache has the polymer in it, so it's not going to go flaking off my paper. Just using X's. And I like this color. I think I'm going to, ooh. That's pretty. It's pretty with that plummy purpley color. So let's just work this in. Let's just work this in. Oh, that's pretty. These metallic, it looks like metallic threads. And the surface designs here, the extra embroideries and things like that were done, they were done after the quilt was all pieced together. So they just treated it as one big piece. So they might have, you know, like running stitches on some of the things between. Like that. I like that. I think we're going to go with a, maybe we'll make that into like little box stitches. Ooh, box stitch. Where you would stitch little boxes all along the join of the fabric. You can do a zigzag. Just whatever you happen to think of that makes you happy. I think I'm going to go ahead and finish the zig and the zag on that. This is becoming more and more crazy quiltish as we put the embroidery on. Look at that. How it's starting to get some of that feel now. And they're all metallic and shiny. I like that. I do need to get my circle on here. And I want to put something that's not very generic right in there. Maybe just a little bit of a wreath. Not too heavy. So that way it leaves room to be able to put other things on there. I like that idea. Actually, what I was thinking of is if I was to do this as a journal cover, because I'm always thinking about doing things as journal covers right now. If I did it as a journal cover, I would take it into the computer and I would cut the circle and I would just rotate it so that the ribbon was right here. And then the title of the journal could go up here in this space. Wouldn't that be cool? Oh, that is looking so nice. Let's say we've got a bit of that going right here. Not too much. Not too much. We don't have very many spots on the edges. And you'll find that certain embroiderers or certain people would, oh, that really looks like fabric right there. Oh, I like that. I could not stitch the butterfly antennas. Oh, yeah. Well, you know, we could just do the butterfly antennas could have that lovely little, like a knot stitch. See? All I did was take the pen and just do a little dots. All right, I want to, let's see if that, Yeah, see, that green is just so pretty. Not every piece of fabric has to be decorated, but pretty much all of your joins of your fabrics need to have embroidery, because that was sort of a signature of the Crazy Quilt, is that all of the joins have embroidery of some kind. So all these joins are embroidered. That one's not. There, that one is now. Join, 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 join. Actually, I'm going to make this a double X because I want that to show up more. So it's like a double X type of embroidery. That's cool. This is not a join, this is a fold. So you wouldn't have embroidery on that spot. This is the edge of the fabric. It's a little bit messy right there. I think I am going to grab a bit of the blue and a bit of that green, and I'm just using this liner brush. Needs to be maybe a touch of that red into it just to get it a little darker. There we go. See, you add red in and it makes it go darker. I'm actually going to just sort of texture that up just a little bit. I just wanted that top edge to be clean. So there's a join, except that it's not really, that's just the tape. This is the tape going around here. All right, so we need a color that we're going to use to stitch on the binding. The binding is going to have one of the colors. I think the binding is just going to be the blue. And let's see, do we have a pretty little, see, that's that doubled cross. She really liked that one. There's this kind of leafy pattern. I don't know. Let's see. Is that going to be dark enough? I don't know that that's dark enough. Oh, it's showing up. I'm doing threes, 3, 3, 3, 3, and I'm tipping them. And then it's going to come back up here. So this binding would have been sewn on with like a blind stitch or a hidden stitch to sew the binding on, and then this is just decorative on the top. So it's not integral to it being, it's not integral to it being structural. It is just that binding is on there just as a you know what? I'm going to do something that they didn't necessarily always do. I'm going to take a contrasting another color, and I am going to cross through. Look at that. Ooh, that's pretty. See, I'm working it out as I'm going along. So, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. I like that. And that's, yeah, that's what we need to do. Just do it till it's what you want it to be. And know that nothing is really too crazy on a crazy quilt. Look at that. That just makes it feel even more special. It's kind of like, you know, they really wanted to make sure that this felt like a super special project. Oh, I just noticed that I did not do the inside of that one. See? Going back over it, I didn't get the blue inside there. Oh, these pens are so pretty. So I'm using a combination of the Arteza glitter and the Sarasa clip shiny, or yeah, shiny colors. I think that really does look real. We need to go in and do the painting in the ring, the embroidery hoop. I'm going to put my pens back in their cases so that I don't lose them. There, and there. That is so cool. I had never used those. So the Sarasa clip shiny color, this was and this is the Zebra company. You can find these like at in craft stores, but you can also find them in office supply. So now we are going to mix up the brown tone that we are going to use. And I am going to put these glitter pens, and these were the Arteza glitter. I believe these are still in stock. And I do have the Arteza link down below, so if you are looking for extra sales or whatever, you can. Yeah, so Coil, I don't think that very many of us have visited India. More fun to doodle stitch. Oh yeah, you don't have to keep threading the needle, and you don't have to keep cutting the threads, and you don't have to keep knotting them in. I like doodle embroidery like this. This kind of embroidery is spot on my favorite. I am grabbing my water back over here. And the not super huge brush, the number 4, I'm going to use yellow. So I'm going to use the yellow. I'm going to grab some of the blue. I'm going to grab some of the red. What are we doing? We're making mud. And the way you keep adjusting it, I mean, all these colors work together. So right now I'm almost to a burnt sienna color. If I add more blue to it, it's going to kind of, you know, burn it up more. If I add more yellow to it, it's going to brighten it or lighten it a little bit. I'm not going to add any more red. I take more blue. And then more yellow. Oh yeah, there. See? Just because I didn't have a yellow ochre color right here in front of me didn't mean that I couldn't mix one up. So this is really close. I need a little bit more white. Now my colors are drying on this palette. I can continue to use them. And more yellow. See, I'm trying to get kind of an embroidery hoop brown. I don't know if that's a real color, but it's a color in my mind that I want. Oh, you know what? Here, let's do this. So that's an embroidery hoop. That's the kind of thing we're looking at. You're only seeing the top edge of one of the hoops because it is, the fabric is folded up inside of it. So this was a bulk pack that I had purchased because I was thinking about doing some Christmas ornaments. And they ended up being a little bit bigger than I was expecting. And yes, I did say blast. All right. So I'm going to I'm not showing the little keeper thing. I'm saying this is kind of like one of those ones that is, oh wow, look at that. I could okay, we're done. I could just glue that right on there, right? And then we'd be done. But I'm not. But now I've got an embroidery hoop and my color needs to be much lighter. So there. That and a little bit of the yellow. And it's close enough. You know what? It doesn't have to match exactly. Am I going to teach sewing? You know what? YouTube does not reward me for doing different things. So first off, I'm just going to go around the hoop once with this kind of color of going right around. There we go. This is a number 4 round brush. It's always easier to pull your brush towards you than it is to push it away. So you see my line is a lot more confident when I pull the line towards me than when I'm pushing away from me or going around at an angle that I don't normally go at. So this is kind of my shadow color, my darker color inside. I will lighten this up as we go. Does look pretty real, doesn't it? I'm really quite excited. Yeah, I'm not, I don't really follow very many actors. Just, you know, it's just I have so many other things going on in my life. And since I'm daily on here, it's hard to watch other things. Thank you. Imaginations are awesome. And imaginations are the things that we need to keep working on it. Your imagination is like a muscle. And if you don't use it, you start thinking you don't have it. So I'm just kind of going around up on the tip of the brush with just a little bit of that watered down version with a little bit more white in it. It's giving us that feeling of that wood sort of going around, being wrapped around in a circle. And this whole quilt was made up out of my imagination. So it was not, this quilt is not the same as that quilt, is it? Totally different. So that's how you can use references from the internet. Just splashed water. That's how you can use references from the internet that may not be actually references. You can kind of get away with stuff, especially old-time photos of old things, because it was a jumping off. It was an inspiration point. But if you put this down and put mine down, nobody's going to think that I looked at this picture. So if you use something as an inspiration, and if you have it sitting next to your picture and nobody could tell that that was the thing you used to inspire you, you are fully awesome and on your doing things the correct way, so that I don't have to give attribution to the photographer who took this particular picture, because I'm not, plus they don't have the photographer listed on the sales site that it was in the sold gallery of, but I'm not using this picture to draw that. I just used it to go, ooh, I like that kind of a color, or maybe if I do this sort of color with that, it will make it different. But look at that. Now we've got the hoop. I want to put a little bit of a darker edge on the inside. And I don't think I'm going to put anything inside right here. I'm going to leave that open so that when I make the book, use it as a journal cover, I can put the title of the book in that space. So yeah, if you use a reference and you can definitely tell that that was the reference, you need to have permission to use it if you're selling the art. If you use a reference and you are sharing it on the internet, and even if you're not selling it, if you're sharing it on the internet and a person could look at it and go, well, isn't that Stephanie Bergeron's whatever? Then if they can tell that it was mine, or if they can tell it was somebody else's, you need to give attribution. You need to say where you got it from. Now, I am looking at this going, this edge of the blue right here, and it is up in the air, but I need a little bit darker just along the very, very edge of that. See, now I'm getting into those little details, those little things that just kind of lift it up, make it feel a little bit more special, separate it from the different layers. Look at that, just use that blue. And as I'm going across, it's becoming more transparent and more like the colors that are underneath of it. See, I can use that blue right there and make that a shadow. I can even make that a shadow right there. Want a little bit, maybe a little bit of light on this edge right here, just so it looks like it's popped up a little bit. Okay, so that's too soft now. I need to make sure that that's got enough definition. It blurred out. So now I need to go ahead and grab more of that blue. Maybe with that little bit of the brown that got mixed on there. There we go. So now we've got more of a shadow right here. A little bit of a line right there, maybe. A little bit of a line. That needs, oh, that binding edge needs to be attached, doesn't it? Or needs to look like it's part of. So let's just grab one of those clip pens. So Coil, is it like 3:30 in the morning your time? Are you up just way late, not able to sleep? Is that why you're... Because your timing is, you're a lot later than I am. It's only 2 in the afternoon here, 2:08 p.m. And I expect yours is, you're way late. Oh, what happens, Coil, is that a lot of the people that are here, they're actually painting also. And so they get quiet. They do get quiet. And a little edge of that purple right around there. And because I've been going for quite a while, many people, they put it into a, they listen and they do other work. Because a lot of the people that are watching are actually here in the United States. And so it's, you know, the work day and such. You study late at night. Yes. Yeah. So that's pretty much how it is. People tend to they tend to come in and they paint, or they work on their own projects while they're listening to me, because I just chatter on, and it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to put one more little layer of that darker color right in along there. And what that does is it helps us separate it, and then I can put a little bit of light right on the very top edge of it. I just have to get a bit of white softened up. Now, once the colors have dried, when you reconstitute them, they are not necessarily as juicy or as thick as when you squirt them out from the container, the tube. But they still can be reconstituted and they can still be used. See, look at that. I think I'm going to do that down here. A little bit right there. A little bit right here. We are going to soften that one line right here. I'm just going to soften that. It's a little too strong. It got lighter as I went on, but a little too strong. So look at that. Soften it up. This is water-based paint. I think, wow, 3 hours. 3 hours. Oh my goodness. Thank you for sticking with me so long, guys. I think I'm going to put my little signature right in here. We've got the date on there already. Okay. We've got that. Whew. All right. What do you guys think so far? I think that turned out really well. Look at that. Our hoop turned out really well too, didn't it? That is pretty darn. I am excited. All right, so now we are going to pull the tape off, and I just have to see where I think it was this way. Oh, I need to heat this up. So now I need to heat it up and break the adhesive of the tape so we can pull this off without tearing the paper. If you see, if you get it hot, you can pull the tape off and it won't tear your paper. So what I'm going to do is kind of do it like this, I think. I want to make sure that I'm getting it hot. And then I can pull it off. Whoop, wasn't hot yet. So I'm heating the adhesive of the tape. I'm also heating my fingers because this is really hot. There we go. And you can tell when I don't tape it down to... There we go. When I don't tape it down, it gets dirty. So I'm going to trim this really quick. I'm just going to use my big paper trimmer. So I had to step up and go and put it on the paper trimmer. And we're just trimming it off to 5.5 by 8.5 because that's the same size as all of my other pieces. And there we are. Look at that, guys. Isn't that fun? And yes, the lines that are going out are actually the ones that were on the quilt. I think I probably will be whiting those out and not having the little edges on that one coming out. But look at that. I hope that you enjoyed this, that this was a fun project for you, that you will share it, that you will click that like button, that you will subscribe to the channel, and that you will share the channel and the video with your friends. Share your art with me, and remember that we are going to be doing the bag of flowers tomorrow, I believe. See, I have to flip through the book to find out. There we go. That's what we're going to be working on tomorrow, and I'm hoping to be able to put these in much more quickly and loosely. It's going to be watercolor, and I'll probably go back to the fan palette for that one. And it will be on the Hanamula bamboo paper. So, there we go, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate that you hung out with me for so long. You make me so happy. And thank you, guys. Remember, go out and do something creative. Take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. I want to see you back here again really soon. Bye-bye.